Looking like it's going to be Gardner. Jalen did everything he possibly could to get his body ready to go, and it just at the end of the day, he's not gonna be able to do it. And he tried like crazy, and I know he still wants to go. That's just the toughness that Jalen Hurts is the toughest player I've ever been around.
All right, what's Nick Sirianni? Jalen Hurts out.
And by the way, he's correct. Nick Sirianni and I have never been in the same room together, so it makes sense that Jalen Hurts would be the toughest player he's ever been around.
That's bad.
So this is a lot of reactions. First off, just bummed, right? I mean, like,
sadness.
My fantasy ride or die, sadness. Like, we want Jalen to get healthy. We don't want him to put himself in harm's way. It makes a ton of sense, especially as we've talked about that the Eagles really only need to win one of their remaining 3 games to win the number 1 seed to get home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Obviously, Philadelphia's goal is ultimately to win a Super Bowl, not necessarily win a Week 16 matchup against the Cowboys. So I understand it from the Eagles' point of view. Be safe with your franchise guy. Fantasy-wise, this is a bummer, right? He's our fantasy ride or die. We love him. A lot of fantasy teams, including many of mine, have ridden him all the way here into the semifinals, into Week 16 in your fantasy playoffs, and now you're like, okay, now what do we do?
Yep.
So hopefully you have a backup. Hopefully you have a viable backup. Hopefully you grabbed Gardner Minshew at some point or you have somebody else. If there's a positive here, Jay Croucher, it's that we know now.
Yes.
That we don't have to sit there wondering, because it's a 4 o'clock game on Saturday, and we don't have to sit there wondering, like, and they're not playing any games about, maybe he'll try to warm up in the pregame. So we now know it's Gardner Minshew. And let's break down, first off, what we think about Gardner Minshew very quickly in this spot start, and then also, does it affect any other Eagles?
Yeah, and I think the thing is that Dallas's defense a few weeks ago looked a lot more intimidating than it does right now after they just gave up 40 to the Jags. I do think that
my Jags, yep.
To your Jags. The problem is now the Cowboys are 6-point favorites over the Eagles. It was 1.5 when Hurts was in. And look, the thing they do better than anything else is rush the passer. And the Eagles were going to be able to neutralize that a lot, I think, with their amazing run game, which Hurts is such a big part of. Now you're going to see more dropbacks you expect with game script, Gardner Minshew throwing. That activates Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. I do think that Minshew, he's probably going to be viable as a streamer just because he's throwing the ball to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. I think that Miles Sanders is going to see plenty of work, so I still think you're starting your Eagles. But, I mean, what do you make of that in terms of the pass catches?
1,000%. Look, Minshew's quarterback 15 for me, and if you sort of go through, kind of the quarterbacks out there, right? I mean, the only guy that's available in, I think, enough leagues that he potentially could be picked up and started that I like more than Gardner Minshew this week is Daniel Jones. Like everyone else if you go to my rankings on Rotoworld.com, NBCSportsEdge.com, and you see it, you'll see that I have Minshew at 15. And then the other potential streamers that I have, the Zach Wilsons, the Brock Purdy's, the Taylor Heineke's, the Nick Foleses, the Malik Willises of the world, the guys that are out there in more than 50% of leagues, they're all ranked below Gardner Minshew. So he would be my favorite. To your point, the Cowboys are a bottom 12 pass defense over the last month. They're a bottom 10 scoring defense over the last month. The Eagles still have a great offensive line. They still have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. They're getting back Dallas Goedert, right? And so I do think that Minshew, who doesn't have Jalen Hurts' rushing ability, but does give you some upside with his legs and has an elite offense around him, I think he's a viable mid-tier QB2. And to your point, if you would normally start any of the guys that we just talked about, and I throw Miles Sanders in there as well, I think you're starting it with Gardner Minshew. Maybe you're lowering expectations a little bit, but the only one that I think is, maybe a question mark, and honestly, I'm still starting him, especially if you look at where I've got him ranked, is Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith's production has really come along with Dallas Goedert out, and we don't know what that's going to look like, but in a game, to your point, that the Cowboys are favored by almost a touchdown, we figure Gardner Minshew is throwing quite a bit in this one. Yeah,
46.5 is the total, so expect there to be scoring. Let's go to another.
By the way, I like the Eagles to cover the 6. That's too big I get it. Jalen Hurts to Gardner Minshew is a downgrade, but I don't.
I think
people are not. I think they're discounting how good the Eagles' defense is. I think they're discounting how good the rest of the players are. And the fact of the matter is that Gardner Minshew has been a successful starter in the NFL. He's had an up and down career, and we're probably skewed a little bit by the fantasy stats and the mustache and the fun, hype around Minshew mania. But he's not awful.
Yeah, if he didn't have the mustache, the line would be 8.
1,000%.
All right, let's get to another superstar quarterback who's injured.
Do you agree with me, or you like the Cowboys to cover the 6?
I like the Eagles +6.
Yeah.
I do. I think they have the best non-quarterback roster in the league, along with the 49ers. I think it's the Eagles and 49ers.
That's my point.
I still think that they really want to win this game. They really want to stick it to Dallas. I think they'll be going all out, even though they only need to win one of the last 3. I think this will be close. Dallas, a lot of questions about them. A lot of questions about Baltimore as well. Mainly at the quarterback position. Lamar Jackson did not practice yesterday. Don't know what the situation is going to be there. It's starting to feel like it's going to be Tyler Huntley again.
It really does. And the weird part, Tyler Huntley was added to the injury report on Wednesday, right? He's got a right shoulder issue. He has not been great this year. No. He has not thrown a touchdown pass. He's averaging single-digit fantasy points in his 3 games that he's played this year. By the way, just got a literally, this is amazing. As I'm talking, the Fantasy Life app sends me an alert. Fantasy Life app, 100% free. I don't know why anyone doesn't have it, but Lamar Jackson not spotted at practice. That is that's a tweet from Jonas Schaefer, who covers the team for the Baltimore Sun. So anyway, so Lamar Jackson not practicing on a Thursday as well.
It's not great. Not
looking good for him. Doesn't mention Tyler Huntley, so I'm assuming he's practicing today. It doesn't matter to me. There's 2 Ravens you want to start, 2 Ravens only, right? I think you're starting Mark Andrews. I know he's been bad with Huntley, but it doesn't matter. I think given tight end, you're still starting Mark Andrews. And then J.K. Dobbins, who I think, given especially the struggles of the passing game under Huntley, my expectation is that they'll go run heavy, especially against a Falcons defense that's bottom 5 against the run over the last 4 weeks.
Yep. Gus Edwards?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a viable flex. It's the problem with Gus Edwards, and this is always the problem with Gus Edwards, is he's not involved in the passing game, and he's going to get less touches than Dobbins, so he really needs a touchdown to pay off. Could he get it against Atlanta? Sure. Do I think he gets double-digit touches in this game? I do. So he's a touchdown-dependent flex, Gus Edwards is. But the guys that I am, quote-unquote, putting into my lineup and not thinking about it, Mark Andrews and J.K. Dobbins, and that's it on the Ravens.
Okay. Well, you would have been putting Ken Walker in your lineup and not thinking about it if he were healthy, but he is not. Dealing with the ankle. Seems like it's flared up. He looked 100% healthy against the Niners. Amazing burst on that last reception towards the end of the game, but now it seems like he's not going to play.
And that was the last week's Thursday night game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's had, at this point, a week basically to get healthy, and I'm with you. It looked like Ken Walker, and had a decent showing against an incredibly tough 49ers defense, especially given that Seattle just couldn't get anything moving. But it's not looking great. Now, Ken Walker has not practiced yet this week. We'll see if he shows up today or tomorrow. My guess is, again, because most teams are playing on Saturday, that in essence today is sort of a Friday practice, and the Friday practice is going to be kind of the Saturday walkthrough. So today's a big day as you're just looking through practice reports throughout the NFL. Oftentimes we sort of blow off Thursday a little bit, like, well, let's see what he does Friday. But just again, remember, we're playing Saturday slate other than 4 teams, I should say, 4 games, 8 teams. But Seattle is one of the teams that does play on Saturday against the Chiefs. So, and by the way, the game is in Kansas City. So we'll also see, does Ken Walker travel with the team? So we'll get some updates there. Seattle waived Tony Jones. Now, they re-signed Wayne Gallman to the practice squad, but my expectation here is that it would be some sort of mixture of Travis Homer and DJ Dallas. You think about Week 14 when Ken Walker was out, Travis Homer played 91% of the snaps. He saw 85% of the running back touches. Now, in that game, DJ Dallas was not active, and DJ Dallas played a little bit last week, so my expectation here is it would be a little bit of a mixture, but I think I would prefer Travis Homer just because they're double-digit underdogs to the Chiefs, and Travis Homer is more of the passing down back. They like DJ Dallas too, and they'll use both guys. I think it'll be a committee, but just my expectation is that Homer gets a little bit more passing down work than DJ Dallas. So if you're truly desperate to replace your, a running back, Homer and DJ Dallas in that order would be out there, assuming Ken Walker does not practice today and is out for the week.
Yep, and Greg Bell from the News Tribune is reporting that it looks like Ken Walker is in his flat shoes at practice, so likely not going to participate today either. You're giggling at flat shoes.
Well, that's not good. I mean, listen, I wear flat shoes. I don't play football.
The way your eyes lit up as soon as I said flat shoes.
You don't often get a fashion update. So, yeah, that's not ideal. By the way, because the truth of the matter is that really, supposedly this show is all about, helping our, fellow all of our viewers and listeners. Supposedly the show is about helping our fellow listeners and viewers to win their bets, to win their fantasy leagues, etc. But the truth is, if I'm being honest, if I can let you in a secret, just behind the scenes for a moment, what this show really is just a therapy session for me to bitch about my own fantasy teams.
Yes.
And
you made that clear.
And I'm in a league with all my college buddies. I've been in this league for over 30 years.
Just going to talk about Ed again?
Oh, no, Ed's in an old work league. No. To hell with Ed. No, this is it's a keeper league.
Yeah.
It's basically a dynasty league. You keep 18 every single year. So I have Jalen Hurts on this team. And Ken Walker.
Yeah.
And I'm in the semifinals this week.
You're screwed.
I'm playing. Yes, I am screwed.
Ken Walker's flat shoes.
I'm the
They're
three.
taking you to hell.
Like, it's not fair. I'm playing the 3 seed.
Yeah.
Playing Charlie Wilkie, my buddy Charlie Wilkie, and freaking Wilkie's got a ridiculous team. He's got Chase and Jefferson, Josh Allen. What am I supposed to do?
Damn Wilkie.
Dan Wilkie, Charlie Wilkie.
He's done it again.
Yeah.
That's a tough break.
My buddy Charlie. Anyway,
right.
so I got my work cut out for myself in that league. And I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to start Travis Homer as a flex.
Boy, that's rough. That's rough. Also rough for the Tennessee Titans. Ryan Tannehill, aggravated ankle injury. Looks like he's not going to play the rest of the year. Looks like it's going to be the Malik Willis show. The line in that game dropped from 7 down to 3, so the market doesn't respect Malik Willis too much, though it is still Derrick Henry up against the Houston Texans. But what does this do for the Titans? Obviously, you're starting Derrick Henry every week, but is there any pass catcher outside of your man Chiggy that you're interested in with the Malik Willis show?
I'm not. At the moment, it does not feel like Treylon Burks is gonna start, and even so, like he just, you think about the Week 8 game against these same Houston Texans. He went 6 for 10, 55 yards. He didn't throw a touchdown. He had an interception. And the sort of calling card of Malik Willis that you sort of think, well, at least maybe he'll run. He'll get you some, fantasy points. Maybe he could be like early season Justin Fields before the passing developed with Fields. Fields was still getting you points with his legs. Maybe he could be like a poor man's Daniel Jones even.
No point.
Five rushes, 12 yards. Week 9 at Kansas City. Again, these are starts that he made earlier this year. Week 9 at Kansas City. He 5 of 16. Well, he didn't. I don't think he started the game against Kansas City.
Willis.
Oh,
he did.
Yeah, that's right. He did.
Yep.
Anyway, but 8 rushes for 40 yards against the Chiefs. 5 of 16 for 80 yards. So it's just like even Chiggy Okonkwo, who I love. You love me. I love
him a lot.
I love getting Chiggy with it.
Yes,
I love the production, and I love being able to make that joke every single time.
Would you like him if his name was Ryan Daniel?
No.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Yeah, be off him. Yeah.
But exactly.
Yeah.
But
tight end 28.
Chiggy Okonkwo, let's get Chiggy with it. I love that. But anyway, so I'm avoiding Malik Willis this week. I think other than Derrick Henry, you don't have confidence in any of these guys. Okonkwo is literally like a mid-tier tight end 2 streamer, and it's against Houston, so it's just like you have to squint to sort of talk yourself into it, just because Willis has not been great so far as a passer in his rookie year.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.